Just move yourselves over to the side for a minute.
This winter, one of Britain's busiest NHS trusts opened its doors.
We have to look after the patients, whether they come from Buck Palace or the park bench.
To show us what's really happening inside our hospitals.
We've got lots of patients now competing for an unknown number of beds.
Every week, more than 20,000 people are treated here.
The pressure's just gone.
What? Is it completely gone?
And the numbers, as well as our expectations, are rising.
We just had our worst 10 days on record. There's nowhere in the hospital to move anybody.
At some point, somebody will be telling us whether we're allowed to do any work.
This is a place with some of the best specialists in the world.
Tumour's out, job done.
Where lives are transformed.
This is saving his life. It has to work.
But they are operating at a time when the NHS has never been under more pressure.
You need beds.
No.
The beds for anyone.
No.
It does feel to me like the elastic's a bit nearer to breaking now than it ever was.
Its very future under scrutiny.
All right, I think we will go out on red because we're under real pressure in the emergency department.
We're aware of the problems. Anybody got a solution?
Following the patients from the moment they are admitted.
Anything I've done up to this point means nothing compared to when you can literally give a bit of yourself to save someone else.
To the moment they leave.
It's all good news. The cancer's gone. You don't need any more treatment.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Week by week, we reveal the complex decisions the staff must make about who to care for next.
That patient is coming to me to be operated on, and if I don't do it, then there's only one inevitable outcome. They're going to die.
Imperial College Healthcare NHS Trust has 5 hospitals spread across central London.
Right, good morning, everybody. It's 8:30 on Monday morning. Let's go to St Mary's. We've let the majority of surgery go ahead. Electives for today, we've got 1 for Charles Planet, 3 for the SIC, 2 vascular, 2 gynae and 2 orthopaedic.
So as you can see, we've got 22 in the department, a large amount of patients which are red and have been over 4 hours.
After a busy weekend of admissions, St Mary's A&E is already full.
All right, no support from there, don't worry, we'll sort you out.
Our door through ED is always open, irrespective of where someone comes from and irrespective of how they get here. We cover all of North West London. Obviously, we've got Paddington Station, we've got Heathrow Airport, we've got Oxford Street. So it's a huge area, and we will pick up anybody passing through. We don't have that ability to stop people and to turn them away. You come to us, and we will treat you.
A regular visitor to the Trust's emergency departments is Terry from the Overseas Office. He's responsible for checking the list of overnight admissions to assess who is and who isn't eligible for free NHS care.
These sheets are the handwritten sheets with all the patients that have been admitted over the last 24 hours.
NHS trusts are obliged by law to identify overseas patients and charge them for their treatment.
There is this assumption that it's free of charge, but that isn't the case. The main criteria to receive free medical treatment in the UK is residency. You have to be resident here. My name is Terry.
Yeah?
I'm from the Overseas Patients Office, sir.
Yeah?
Just need a quick word with you.
What dog is it?
I'm from the Overseas Patients Office.
I don't understand.
The Overseas Patients Office.
Three patients?
The Overseas Patients Office. Can you finish your conversation?
Yeah, okay.
That's right. Stay in the bed, sir. Stay in the bed.
Stand?
No, stay in the bed, sir. You
Stay
don't
in the
need.
bed, sir.
You don't need to get up.
Bed.
No, just stay in the bed.
Ah.
Because you're on a tourist visa, you're not entitled to free medical treatment.
No.
We use ATMs, card reader, very effective in being able to take a payment on the spot.
Charge, how much do you charge?
It's £800 a day.
I don't have one, I can't very sorry.
I understand that, but that's what we have to charge, sir.
In an emergency, Imperial staff won't ask to see a person's identification before treating them.
The first thing I'm looking for is to make sure they've got an NHS number. If a patient doesn't have an NHS number, then it can be an indication that actually they're not resident. Also, of course, I'm looking for overseas addresses. You know, it's a quick sweep of picking up patients that have come in. There's a patient here without an NHS number. He moved to Italy 2 weeks ago, and then he's saying that he's returned, but he's got no GP registration that we can see.
The patient arrived in A&E yesterday.
Hello, sir. Sorry to wake you.
He came in complaining of kidney problems.
Sorry to wake you. I need to speak with you. Yeah? How are you? Give yourself a moment to wake up. Okay. Yeah? What's your nationality? Sorry? You're from Palestine. So you arrived back in the UK yesterday, you said?
Yeah. I live before in Italy.
Sorry?
Italy.
You were living in Italy? Okay. Do you hold Italian nationality, sir? Do you hold Italian nationality?
No.
You don't? So, have you claimed asylum here? Have you claimed asylum in the UK? You have?
Yeah.
Yeah? And when you claimed asylum, have the Home Office given you a residency in the UK, in England?
Yes, of course. I came here in the Home Office before.
Right. So what sort of travel document do you have? What travel document do you have?
Don't have any document.
Oh, you don't have any documents?
No, sir.
What I need to understand is whether you have a legal right to live in the UK. If we can't confirm that you're resident here, then we will charge you for your treatment. I'm going to have to do some checks, and we'll come back to you.
Come back again?
Yeah. It's very frustrating because I cannot confirm his residency here, and he's telling me that he has gone through the signing process. But what's frustrating is he cannot give me a straight answer as to what documents he does have or what he doesn't have, which would enable me to make a judgment on his entitlement to healthcare.
If a patient can demonstrate that they are a refugee or a registered asylum seeker, they will be entitled to free NHS care.
So what I will do is I will put a request through to immigration to find out what his immigration status is.
How do you get from Italy to the UK without any papers?
It's very easy. For lorry.
Really?
Yeah, first for lorry. You know, for my country is big dangerous. My country is big problem. When I come here, it's very easy. You understand? Because Palestine is very dangerous now. I have a problem for my kidney. I have 2 stones. It's a big problem for me. And when I go to toilet, I miss blood. But doctor, he never asked about money. Because me, I'm not working because I don't have document, I don't have paper, and don't have ID. Me, I don't have money as well. I'm not a rich man. But I need for help, just help, that's it. You understand me?
Across London, a woman is being transferred from A&E at St Mary's to its sister hospital, Hammersmith, for an urgent operation.
going to be positive. All right? So you'll be going off to the anesthetic front, where you're going to go off to sleep.
Cardiologists have discovered 56-year-old Sonia has dangerous narrowing of the arteries and could have a heart attack at any moment.
This is my youngest sister. She's on holiday here from the Philippines. She wasn't feeling well. She was shivering and she's having chest pain. She's shaking and she's worried. So I tried to reassure her. I said, everything will be okay. I hope the operation goes well and she'll be okay. Fingers crossed.
Did she have travel insurance?
Unfortunately, she didn't have one.
Sonia's operation will be conducted by the hospital's world-renowned cardiac team.
Hammersmith Hospital is a specialist cardiac hospital. It does not have an acute accident and emergency department. However, any patient in the region who presents with chest pain will be brought here immediately by ambulance.
In charge of the operation is veteran heart surgeon Rex Stanbridge.
The heart scan showed narrowing of all the important arteries of her heart. Effectively, it's like a blockage in a high street. The cars can't go through, and the fact the blood's not getting through to the muscle of the heart. What we are doing is making a bypass around the high street. It's going fine, very well. Quite anxious for her as well as you, and we think might be nice of you to sit down outside.
So I'll wait there.
You can wait out there, yes. But go off and do a bit of retail therapy. It's not good to sit right outside the theatres. If anything were to happen or something, you can imagine a relative might get wind of it and they'd sort of go hysterical and come rushing in and screaming and stuff, and that would put everybody off. Also, the patient is probably aware of her, and that makes the patient more concerned, because the patient is worried about the relative, and the relative is worried about the patient, and so on. Good, Lee. What do you think?
Sonia needs a quadruple bypass. The surgeons must take veins from her leg to make new blood vessels to replace her blocked arteries.
So you've got just the length of this much at the moment. We'll go in the obvious bit. Have a swab, please.
Rex must decide whether to stop Sonia's heart mid-surgery, using a pump to keep her alive while the bypass is completed.
The standard method is to attach the patient to a heart-lung bypass machine, take the blood out of the heart, put it into a machine, circulate it, warm it, oxygenate it as you need, put it back in. The way of doing it without using the heart-lung machine is called off-pump surgery, and I think there's a benefit for the patient not circulating blood through machines. The blood doesn't get damaged in the same way.
Conducting Sonia's bypass off-pump could reduce her recovery time after the operation, but it will mean keeping her heart beating throughout the delicate procedure.
It's a practice I've been doing regularly for 20 years. But not all surgeons like doing it that way. It's technically a tiny bit more difficult, and it can go wrong. You know, when you've got one heart and something, you think something might go wrong, you realise you haven't got another one back up. So everybody's a little bit aware in heart operations.
Before beginning Sonia's operation off-pump, Rex tests whether her heart will be strong enough to be moved around during surgery.
Will the heart tolerate being lifted? Beating quite nicely. You look at the blood pressure, it's 120, and if we do this very gently, we can lift the heart up. Pressure's now 76. Put the heart down, pressure will come up. So it looks like we will be able to do all the arteries off pump. So we should be able to do this procedure as planned. Can I have the table up a little bit, please? Thank you, stop.
Sonia's surgery will take 5 hours and cost a minimum of £5,000.
We'll go in the obvious bit. How's swab, please?
In the Philippines, before they can operate on you, you have to have money.
See how it's all going.
So if you're poor there, you don't have the capacity to pay, you die.
I've been doing this job about 12 years now. Yeah. My background is photography, in fact. But unfortunately, I wasn't really able to make a sufficient living out of it, so I jumped ship. Yeah, travel photography. So that sort of ties in with what I do now, really. I mean, I applied for the job, not fully understanding, what the job entailed. But I've grown into the role, because there's so many difficulties to the role. Not least, very contentious communication, not only with the patient, but with the patient's relatives.
Under NHS regulations, treatment in A&E is free to all. It's only when an overseas patient is admitted onto a ward that charges begin.
When did he arrive in the UK?
I think it was maybe a month ago. They're visiting me. I live here.
So he's travelling with his wife?
Yes.
Okay.
Mahir is also under the care of the heart team. He had a heart attack while on holiday from Turkey, visiting his daughter in the UK.
So he's just visiting from Turkey. Okay, because we do charge for treatment, and I think possibly discussing surgery.
That's right, yeah. I'm waiting for the surgeons. They haven't discussed it with me.
They haven't discussed it with you. Okay. At the moment, the charge is going to be £800. Now, if he stays and has surgery, he could be here for about 10 days. This could be costing £15,000-20,000. That's a sort of
£20,000.
Yeah, if he was to have the surgery here. This is what we call an agreement to pay, because we're going to be charging the patient for treatment, and we ask the patient or a relative to sign this.
Okay.
So would you be happy to sign it?
This is the only way to proceed with, his surgery. The doctors won't talk to us if I'm not agreeing to pay.
No. They will decide whether to pursue treatment based on the clinical need. Okay, so this will not interrupt. If you need surgery, then it will go ahead, regardless. It's a question of informing people that they're going to be charged on the one hand, but also reassuring that they are going to be treated appropriately on the other hand, and that if the treatment is absolutely necessary, it will go ahead. The worst case scenario is the patient wants to leave the hospital immediately because of the charges. Most of the patients we deal with, I would not define as health tourists. They're not here specifically to access free medical treatment. They're here on holiday usually, and they've fallen ill or they have an accident.
Here at this moment, we just at night had, my father had a heart attack. We came here. The most important is his health. So I would sign any paper, right? So.
Has your father been made aware of the costs yet or anything like that?
No, I mean, I told him I'll deal with it. You know, he doesn't need to, he's already has a very serious condition. So I just want my father to be healthy and well. And, this is a good hospital. I hope the surgeons and the doctors are good. And that's the most important thing for me right now.
Before the Palestinian man's immigration status can be checked, he leaves the hospital.
So he had his procedure and he was discharged. There is a possibility that, he would disappear into the community and we won't see him again here anytime soon.
Does that happen often?
Yes, it does. It happens quite a lot. And it's more pertinent with, illegal immigrants or people that have overstayed their visas because, we know that they're not likely to come back if they can help it, basically. If it does turn out that he's not entitled or that he doesn't have a residency in the UK, then all we can do is send out an invoice to the home address. What can you do? It's a wider issue than just accessing healthcare.
The Trust's neonatal intensive care unit is one of Britain's leading centres for premature babies.
What's it like to take blood from a baby so young?
Well, you try to do it as best as possible, of course, so it doesn't hurt them. Well, they're tiny, tiny, tiny hands and tiny, tiny, tiny veins, obviously.
Amongst the most vulnerable, 3 siblings born more than 3 months before their due date.
Hello. I've come to find out how Priscilla's babies are doing.
Oh, naturally, they are still in very critical state, so they all need continuous support and monitoring. So, yeah.
Okay.
It is very difficult. We have to be honest with her.
The baby's mother, Priscilla, is recovering nearby in the adult intensive care unit.
Her life was at risk, and at one moment in time, we were very, very worried about her. She had collapsed. She wasn't breathing very well. She needed to be intubated.
Thank you.
Priscilla lives in Nigeria, where she works in healthcare.
Well, this is my house. This was my 43rd birthday. Well, because of age, I decided I would go for an IVF birth method. And even though it's expensive, we decided we plan towards it.
After receiving the treatment in Nigeria, Priscilla became pregnant with quadruplets.
When I got to the hospital, we saw it was 4. And everybody was like shocked. The guy that was seeing me advised that I travel because we didn't have facility to cater for the children back in Nigeria. Then I called my friends and sister in the US. And they said I have to come to the US. But I'd already have a US visa, valid visa. So I booked for my ticket.
Priscilla boarded a plane from Nigeria to America.
You know, I've journeyed for 2 days in the air to get to Chicago. When I got to Chicago, and they said I did not have a paper from the hospital where I'm supposed to attend in the US, therefore they will not allow me in.
Priscilla boarded a flight back to Nigeria with a scheduled connection at London Heathrow.
That evening, they took us back to board the plane. So I started contracting there. While in the plane, I was shivering and I was having discharge. The crew member announced in the plane for medical team in the plane to come and help me. I woke up in a hospital.
Soon after arrival, she was in labor, and we delivered one of her babies. Baby was of a very low birth weight, less than a bag of sugar. Unfortunately, that baby died.
It hasn't been easy, it's been tough. We are all in God's hand. Every day is a plus for us.
Did you always want to be a mother?
Of course, I want to be a best mom to them.
She's gone from thinking that she was going to America to family and friends to finding herself in a hospital she doesn't know, in a country she doesn't know, with nobody she knows nearby, not knowing how long she's going to be there or how things are going to turn out. It's a pretty daunting, pretty terrifying situation to find yourself in, I think.
Can I have the table up a little bit, please?
After 5 hours in theatre, Sonia's quadruple heart bypass is complete.
The operation has been done. We'll full grasp using the off-pump technique. Her blood vessels were actually very small, so quite difficult. And although there were times when the blood pressures were not as robust as I'd like, nothing really bad has happened. Hello. Okay, just sit down, sit down. She's okay. She's fine. The operation went all right. She had the full grasp which we wanted to do. I think she'll be fine.
I'm very pleased.
We're going to keep her in sleep tonight and wake her up tomorrow morning. They often do that when it's a slightly more difficult operation.
Grateful for her.
Not at all, not at all.
Hi, how's it going? My name's Michael. Looking after her. So she's just come out about 20 minutes ago. At the moment she's fine. We just like to monitor her, make sure that she's not bleeding, that her blood pressure's stable, that all the numbers look good. Actually, she's on very, very minimal amount of support, so she's doing really well so far. Alright. But it's scary, isn't it?
I love my sisters very much. We are a very close-knit family. We love each other. We care for each other. That's why I asked her to come over here to have a holiday, and I'm working here, and as much as possible, if I have the money, I take her on holiday. Because she lost her husband 12 years ago, and she's living there alone. But this kind of surgery had to pay a lot of money.
Do you think it'll be okay, though?
Yeah, it's good. You can find the money, but for her health, you can't. So it's a blessing that she had a surgery here.
Terry from the overseas office has been made aware of Priscilla from Nigeria. The care of her babies and her own treatment in intensive care could run into hundreds of thousands of pounds.
She was an emergency, and that's why she came to the hospital. If you accept quads, then you are looking at your neonatal unit probably being full.
The neonatal intensive care unit has 10 cots, each offering life-preserving breathing support and body temperature control for preterm babies. Many of the babies treated here must stay on the unit for extended periods of time.
The largest invoice I've raised for a single individual was just under £200,000. I do know that the family paid to date £75,000 on that. Where is the patient?
Isolation 4. In this room.
She's in there, is she?
Yeah.
Okay, that's wonderful. Hello, Priscilla. Priscilla, my name is Terry. I'm from the Overseas Patients Office. So I'm here today just to introduce myself because I cover this hospital. Thing is, Priscilla, the hospital bills are going to be quite high.
I don't plan to come here.
No, I understand
The
that.
situation changed.
You're going to be in England for a while, aren't you? You understand that. So your husband, is your husband in Nigeria? He is. Will he be coming over at all under these circumstances? He won't. When you're a bit more stable, you come out of ITU, I'll come and see you again. Okay? I do understand that it's a very difficult time for you, you know, but we do need to talk about the charges for hospital treatment. Well, I do appreciate your time, Priscilla. I know, as I said, I do understand, you know, it's a very difficult time for you. We'll take this steady, a day at a time, okay? Okay, you take care. The next stage really is to let her know that we have to start raising invoices on a regular basis, so it'll be a weekly basis. And those invoices are going to be huge because she's got 3 babies in ICU. You know, so that's like 20 grand a week for each baby.
Sonia's condition is deteriorating. She's in the intensive care unit receiving treatment for a suspected blood infection.
She had operation and then she was getting ready to go back to the ward. They took everything off. They sat her out on the chair. Then later on she became ill again. Apparently, they think it might be sepsis. So that's why they're treating her with IV antibiotics and blood transfusion. It's difficult, very difficult thinking that she's very ill. And we're just hoping and praying that she's going to pull through. We love her very much. Once they remove the tube there, he's going to have a tracheostomy, but the recovery is, the rehabilitation is long, but I don't mind as long as she gets better. Yeah, keep our fingers so she's in good hands. Everybody is doing good for her.
An intensive care bed costs the trust around £2,000 a night. It's unclear how long Sonia will have to stay on the unit.
Now I'm asking the doctor to give us a letter so that we could cancel her flight. Definitely not going. She's not ready to go home. I want her to take her alive and well. So she has to get better.
Having given birth 8 days ago, today is the first time Priscilla has been well enough to go and see her babies.
Right, so now take this just in case.
Yes, it's good.
Hey, how are you? Good to see you. Good to see your little ones. So your two little girls, numbers 2 and 3, are on this side by the window, and then your little boy's just there by the door. Can you come out your way? You can come in, and then we'll swap over and say hello to the others in a second.
Did you say you've decided names for them?
Deborah.
Is this Deborah? Is that the name you
Just
picked for
gonna take
her?
this out.
Yeah, that's a nice name, I like.
Deborah. It's good to see you. Feel my hand. She's gripping your hand.
Knows Mummy, doesn't she?
She's gripping the
She
hand
knows
now.
Mummy.
She's gripping the hand. I love you, baby. God bless you.
This is your baby boy.
Brother Elisha. Vanessa, how are you? The Lord bless you. The Lord keep you. Thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate it.
I'll double check with you the spellings before you go, just so that we've got all the names right.
It's a good day, yeah? It's a good day. First day you get to hold your baby's hands. We've been waiting for this day.
Thank you all. Thank you so much. You are doing a good job. You guys are doing a good job. Massive job.
All 3 babies have a serious infection, and their condition remains unstable.
The babies were obviously born very prematurely. They were born at 24 weeks. The chances of survival are pretty limited, born that early. They're by no means out of the woods. They definitely need time to grow and develop.
Each day counts, and then you see the progress day by day. Nobody have power over the future but God. So we pray and we trust God.
To nurse the 3 babies in intensive care costs the trust £6,000 a day.
Funds in the NHS are very, very finite. I think we would all feel that if you haven't put into the pot, you don't have an entitlement to take out of the pot. But then you look at somebody like Priscilla, who it's not that straightforward always. What do you say? Do you pack her back on a plane to Nigeria in the conditions she's in, where she's, herself really unwell? Do you drag her away from those very, very tiny babies who, are still really fighting for their lives? Do you say to those tiny children who've had nothing to do with it, sorry, you're not entitled? The reality in individual cases is very, very different to the kind of the big headlines of, people taking what's rightfully ours and, people taking what they're not entitled to. It's really hard to make those decisions, and I'm glad it's not my job to do it.
The NHS's annual budget is around £100 billion. It has been estimated that around £450 million is spent each year treating overseas patients who have no entitlement to free UK healthcare. Terry is preparing an invoice for Filipino heart patient Sonia. The cost of her treatment so far is £18,000.
This is Sonia's invoice, who's had open heart surgery. She took a turn for the worse in terms of her recovery. so she's very poorly. She's from the Philippines, you know, she doesn't have that kind of money. And that's not the end of it. Her total bill could reach, you know, £40,000, I suspect. That will impact on her sister in this case, and on other relatives. And so it really does bring my sort of role and the idea of presenting a huge bill and demanding payment brings it into sharp focus. I'm here to see Sonia. So which bed is she in? I understand it's sister.
Bed 5.
Bed 5, is she? Okay. Marina, hi. Hi, Marina. I just would have a quick chat if that's all right. Do you mind?
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
So, Marina, this is an invoice, okay, which, as you know, we have to present. Yeah, okay. Now, clearly, Sonia's been in ITU for a while now. By law, we have to present these, okay? So, also need to ask you, are you able to make a small payment as a deposit today, do you think?
At the moment, I'm retired.
You're retired, yeah.
I am.
And
I
you're,
have to pay mortgage as well.
I do understand, yeah.
So at the moment, my son is unemployed as well, so I'm supporting.
Right, okay.
That's another worry for me.
Okay.
But
I'm not going to press you for that, okay? So what I will say is, you know, there will be further invoices. You know, I think you need to look at the possibility of, making a small payment on a monthly basis rather than paying the whole amount, okay? But this won't disrupt your sister's treatment, okay? You just need to know that as well, okay? That's the first time I've seen Sonia myself. You know, she's very poorly. When you visually see a patient in that condition, then that has its own impact on me. So, you know, pursuing hardball on financial issues at this stage, you know, it sometimes isn't really appropriate.
I don't want to talk about the payment yet. I don't want to trouble myself yet. You know, they're not forcing me to pay at this time. All I'm focusing at the moment is my sister's condition to improve.
Imperial's overall annual budget is just over £1 billion. In the last year, it spent over £4 million treating overseas patients. It has been able to recover £1.6 million.
I just phone him and find out how long it's going to be?
As a proportion, overseas patients are a tiny, tiny proportion, much less than 0.5% of the work that we do. And the number of very high-value patients is of the order of 1 or 2 or 3 a year. But I think there is certainly more that we can do to reclaim the money from overseas patients.
With more than half of the money owed by overseas patients going unrecovered, the Trust decides to recruit a project manager for the overseas team to help them collect more debt.
So my understanding is we've got more money in from overseas patients this year than last year, and the idea of this post is that we're then going to be able to increase that further next year. Will they be on the ground?
As an overseas officer, you need to be based on site
Yeah.
and work from within rather than being off-site. So.
Okay. And when do we think that post will get filled?
Ideally, well, it really depends. We'd be looking at 6 weeks at best. The advert is currently out and closes next week.
Excellent.
These patients can end up having quite expensive care, and obviously we need to try and recoup that to plough back into our NHS services.
The billing for the last financial year was, I believe, 4.2 or 4.3 million. So I recognise it is a small part in terms of the money we recoup, but it's a pie, it's an important part. And you have to look at it, well, what would £4 million provide in terms of treatments? It's a no-brainer. How many nurses can you employ for £4 million? Again, it's a no-brainer, isn't it?
What happens if after repeated invoices you can't pay?
So, with overseas patients, they can be quite difficult. So, patients who leave, then obviously we would use all legal means that we have to try and recoup the money, and the finance department will, for patients who haven't paid, will report that to the government, and on occasions that has meant that people have been not been able to come back into the country or have been identified as they've been leaving the country in order to recoup that money.
Terry is calculating Priscilla's latest bill.
So I prepared, well, 4 invoices, in fact, for Priscilla. We invoice the babies under their own sort of details, but obviously we present that to the mother. They're just under £100,000, these invoices. Something I might say that I'm a bit hard-hearted, but I wouldn't accept that at all. I think, you know, I have a capacity to ask a difficult question, you know, of someone in very difficult circumstances. You certainly have to distance yourself emotively, you know, turn your emotions off, really. Otherwise, without that, you wouldn't get the job done, you know. I'm not in a position to say, you know, look, I'm very sorry for your trouble and your circumstances. I accept that you can't afford the bill, so, hey, we won't charge you, okay? How about that? I don't have that power. Because I don't have that power, then I have no option but to make sure that they're given the correct information and they will receive an invoice and that will be pursued. I'm here to see Priscilla.
Okay.
Priscilla, hello, hi. How are you? Under the circumstances. You're looking a lot better today, I must say. That's good. We've been praying for you anyway. So how are you feeling? Okay, that's good. Well, you know, obviously I've got not great news, I'm afraid, because I've had to raise some invoices for you. So I've raised an invoice for you, for your treatment, okay? That's giving birth and your time here. And then these are the invoices for the 3 children. These bills are quite high, Priscilla.
Is it negotiable?
Sorry?
Is it negotiable?
I'm afraid they're not negotiable, no. Yeah, the trust really does not have a mandate to either cancel. So what we do, we bill for the individual babies, but obviously the invoices are directed to you yourself, okay? I will say this, that if a patient is showing willing and is able to make a payment, then that could help in reducing the charges. Do you not think your husband will come over and visit you? After, no?
Give him visa and money to go.
I appreciate your position. You know, it's a very difficult situation you find yourself in. We'll have to work on these problems and, you know, do the best we can. Well, I understand you're coming out of ITU today, so that's good news. And I'll come and see you next week, and we can pick this conversation up again, okay? All right, Priscilla, you take care, and thank you for your time, okay? All right.
Of course, every normal human being should worry about the huge NHS bill. So the money is something to worry about. But life is worth more than money. Money cannot buy life.
You know, I think at the end of the day, for her, from her perspective, whether it's 10,000 or whether it's 200,000, you know, I think either sum is going to be unmanageable anyway. You know, we will gently push forward, and, you know, do what we have to do. You know, we're governed by the rules and regulations. You know, they seem a bit fruitless at times, but they have to be pursued.
The team in neonatal intensive care is concerned about baby Deborah's blood pressure. The consultant on call is neonatologist Bada Shaban.
They were vulnerable, minimum handling, particularly these two. And we don't want to change anything.
As he is examining her, her heart stops.
What's the pressure you are on?
20.
No, there is no. They get a trolley for intubation. We got the tube. Can I have a tube? Just give me a tube.
She's too small to be given chest compressions, so Dr. Shaban uses a tiny pump to force air into her lungs.
Definitely in the chest.
Okay, we are there. Baba.
Did you just save that baby's life?
Yes, pretty much.
His baby went asystolic completely, so it was no heart rate at all. So pretty much he was completely out of it. That's one of the hardest moments you can ever get. I mean, this 23-weeker with no heart rate whatsoever. So practically, the baby was the nearest to be dead. Thank you very much, team. It was amazing. It's a great relief. You're always worried about this baby life, whatever they are, 470 grams, 23-weeker, or whatever age. Life is life. Okay, thank you very much.
I needed to get well and watch them grow. Every other thing now is secondary. They're all fighters. But I hold on to faith. I trust God.
After a quadruple heart bypass and 41 days in hospital, Sonia is returning home.
We are going to the Philippines. I'm taking my sister home. Too excited to go home in the Philippines. My heart is okay. No chest pain. They have done a good job, everybody. But Hammersmith Hospital. If she became ill, and it happened in the Philippines, she wouldn't be alive at this now. It happened here, and now they have done a good job. She's alive and well. They've given a new lease of life to my sister.
Do you know what the final cost was?
56,000, 59, I think.
£59,000. It's a lot of money.
It is. I can't afford. She's just a housewife, and she hasn't got that money to pay.
Will you be able to pay any of it?
We haven't discussed yet, but we'll try and, discuss with the family.
Priscilla is waiting to hear if she's well enough to be discharged.
Hello. You alright?
I'm fine, Mom.
Do you want to sit up a little bit?
I'm strong.
Okay.
You are a darling. Thank you.
How are you?
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
I'm strong.
How are the babies?
Yeah, well, I went to see them that time.
Yeah?
To give them their feed. I stress and I do up myself now without wheelchair.
All the infection markers have come down, so you're doing very well. All right?
Restored.
Restored. 100%. So we're going to be discharging you today.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Take
I
care.
appreciate you. God bless you.
All right. Bye, Priscilla. Her major problem right now is that she's got 3 babies who are on the neonatal intensive care unit, all on antibiotics. We're not sure whether they will survive or not.
Six weeks after she arrived in premature labor, Priscilla is discharged.
As nurses and doctors, we will always treat the patient that is in front of us at that time, irrespective of what their story is. It's in your heart, and I don't think you can get rid of that. And I think you'd have a huge argument trying to say to someone, just stop now, because we're not going to do this anymore because this patient isn't entitled to treatment today. I think you get a lot of clinicians who just go, well, I'm really sorry they need it, so I'm going to give it to them. In the same way that you'd want that to happen to your mother or your father or your loved one if they weren't in this country and they needed to be treated.
Priscilla is being housed by a charity and comes every day to see her children.
Here we are. Hello.
It's 10 weeks since the babies were born.
Debbie. Debbie, Mama. That's Deborah. They're my source of joy, happiness. This is the big daddy. They are strong fighters. We are all fighters. It's been a tough journey, but we are all alive. And I want to appreciate all the doctors, the consultants, the nurses. This Debbie's mommy.
Priscilla's hospital bills continue to increase. Terry has presented her with another set of invoices.
The last bill that I got from them was £331,000. If I have to work all my life, there's no way I can work for such money. Even when I asked the consultants and I asked them if they can afford 2,000 daily for a child, they said they can't afford it. So if a consultant here can't afford it, where do I get that such money from? The priceless one. I love you, baby.
She's got her eyes open beautifully. Look.
She's priceless.
Yeah, after what she's gone through.
Thank you so
there.
much. Thank you for being there for us. God bless you.
The babies are likely to be another 2 months in ITU. Yeah, we can't condemn her because she had these babies here. It's going to be a huge financial cost to the trust. But when you're talking about these sort of sums, you know, it goes well beyond the mother's ability to even address payment. I suspect that Joe Public, as far as they're concerned, you know, you come into hospital, you receive treatment. I think they probably would appreciate the NHS a lot more if they were aware of the challenges and the cost of treatment. And perhaps they might begin to cherish it a bit more.
Jerry, look at me. Can you see me all right?
Next time,
Just been brought in by ambulance.
doctors race against the clock to save a stroke patient.
We called up, they said come up. Okay, what do you want to do?
Every year that goes by, we're more and more stretched, and it feels like standards are slipping.
The cardiac team weigh up the risk of operating on one of the hospital's oldest patients.
It's not low risk at 98. As the population ages, how sustainable is all of this within the current structure of the NHS?
And a 22-year-old donates his bone marrow for a pioneering new treatment to save his sister's life.
I am very nervous because it has to work.
What choices would you make when faced with complex healthcare decisions? Visit our interactive pages to find out how you would respond. Go to bbc.co.uk/hospital and follow the links to the Open University.